This episode is brought to you by Regalo Official and Capital Builders Center. Christmas is just around the corner, so check out regaloofficial.ph on Facebook, Instagram, Lazada, and Shopee for gift ideas and other curated home decor. If you're looking for affordable, high-quality hardware and other home repair needs, visit Capital Builders Center on Facebook, Lazada, and Shopee today. Hello and welcome to Trenta, 30-something conversations with 30-somethings and the 30-something else. I don't exactly consider myself a basketball fan, but after watching The Last Dance, it brought back so many memories of a time where I actually followed the NBA, like when I was a kid. And so I thought of doing an episode on an NBA legend because we can't talk 2020 without talking about Kobe. So I invited a super fan to talk about him and maybe Kobe's impact on his life. So everyone, please welcome Anjo. Hello.
Hey everyone, nice to be here. Thanks for having me, Paige.
Yay, thank you. So before I begin, may I ask for your ASL?
I'm Anjo, 34. I'm based in Makati.
All right. So my first question, I guess, would be, what was your reaction when you heard of the news of Kobe's passing? Where were you? Yeah.
I'll never forget it actually. I was actually in Osaka with my family on a family vacation, and then I remember waking up and checking my phone, and I just remember seeing posts of like Kobe in a helicopter accident, and yeah, it was just it was crazy. It was, I didn't want to believe it. It's we were on the train to Kyoto that day, and I remember just being on the train like crying the whole time. And then like people were just like looking at me, and I couldn't help it. So
go ahead. Sorry.
I don't think I'll forget that.
Was there some sort of denial on your part? Like, did you think at first it was fake news or something?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm really into Twitter, and a lot of the basketball stuff I follow is on Twitter. So usually what I do is I'll just hop on my phone, and then I remember when I heard about Kobe, I just kept refreshing and then looking for, and then seeing multiple reports about it. And at first I was hoping that it wasn't true, but so that's how it went.
So I remember when we last saw each other pre-COVID, you just recently got a tattoo in honor of Kobe. So would you care to share what it is and what the story behind it is?
Yeah, so when we were in Japan, I immediately after hearing about the news, like I was just thinking about it, and then I just realized that I wanted to get a tattoo to pay tribute to Kobe, because ever since I was a little kid, Kobe's been like my idol. Basically I just started thinking about different designs, and actually came across maybe like 5 or so ideas that I was thinking about, and the one that I ended up choosing is basically it's called a Ouroboros. So it's like I think it originates from Egypt. So it's a ancient Egyptian symbol of a snake eating its tail. So which it actually represents life and rebirth. So like a never-ending cycle, so it's like an infinity sign. It's basically the life from death. So and it's also, well, because it's an infinity sign, it's also the number 8, which is Kobe's number. So and also his nickname is the Black Mamba, so that's why I got the snake.
Because Mamba is a type of snake. Am I right?
It's It's a type of snake.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why I ended up getting it, and it's probably one of my favorite tattoos, actually.
Mm. You had
Yeah.
it made
So
here lang,
it's
di ba? I mean, like in Manila.
yeah, in 55 Tinta
Oh
QC.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, they got some good artists over there. So if anybody wants to check it out, they got Instagram and all
Free
that.
promotion.
Yeah.
So yeah, why?
Um,
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
no, it's like, go ahead.
So why Kobe? Like, when did you realize he was someone you could look up to, or what was it in him that made you idolize him?
So for me, personally, I grew up in I was born here in the Philippines, but I grew up in Los Angeles.
Mm.
So when I was growing up, basically all the kids in school, everybody, the whole city, everybody's a Laker fan.
Uh-huh.
It's like a thing over there. So we when I was growing up, we'd be playing basketball, shooting around on the blacktop, and we're all imitating like the Lakers and stuff.
Uh,
And so Kobe actually got drafted in '96, which is when I started really getting into basketball.
mm,
So it's always been like I've always associated like kind of the start of Kobe's career with like the start of my interest in the NBA.
uh-huh.
And um, it's aside from his talent and his skill, I think what I admire most about him is probably his work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I mean, you hear about all these crazy stories from other NBA players and even other athletes where, even though he wasn't the most physically gifted player or whatever, he really worked his hardest to kind of maximize what he was given.
Right.
And then um, after basketball, he started trying to help other people also kind of tap that mentality to be able to be better in whatever it is that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, the Nike just came out with a commercial for him. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but
No, I haven't seen it.
basically the tagline is "Be better." So
Oh, that's nice.
uh, yeah, that's like that's something that uh, Kobe kind of inspired me personally. Um, I remember the night before the first weekend of the bar exams.
Uh-huh.
The first exams, my mom left me a note before the exam, and it was a quote from Kobe,
Oh,
and
what is
then
it?
it's basically about I wish I had the quote with me. I'll send you the exact quote later.
Sure, sure.
But yeah, it's basically about pressure and then not giving into pressure and just like overcoming and doing your best. And that that kind of gave me like a little extra boost going into that first weekend.
Oh, yeah. Some comfort as well, right? Like,
Yeah, so it's yeah, I really just admire his work ethic, and
mm,
I think it can be applied to a lot of aspects, not just basketball.
right.
Um, yeah, so
So it
probably
was
the number
more
one
a
thing.
case of having an idol and then like get him pumping up your interest in the sport. Is that right?
Yeah, it's just being part. I would describe it as like almost like a culture. When
Mm,
you're growing up, yeah, like when you're growing up in Southern California, it's like part of the culture there that you just you know
you're an
like
automatic
it,
fan.
yeah, it's just you just support the Lakers, and
Mm,
when you're a kid, you just think that those guys are like gods. So It really started with like a childhood thing, and I just got I just remember watching games with friends, and I think it's also about the memories that you create along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so it was more, yeah, like something like that. Like I just gotten like so engrossed with it as a kid, and even up to now,
Mm-hmm.
it's been like something that I enjoy.
Uh, you know, they say now when we idolize people, we it's because we see some common characteristics in them that kind of reflect our own life story. Or like, would you say there are certain parallelisms in your life and in Kobe's life, or what drew you to him?
Um, Parallelisms. I'm not. Uh, I don't know. Maybe. Well, I so Kobe grew up in. He actually grew up in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, his father was a not. Yeah, his father was a professional basketball player, so he grew up in Italy,
Oh.
and so he kind of moved back to the states when he was already in high school or almost in high school,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was kind of the reverse. I grew up in the states, and then I
Yeah.
came back here in high school.
Ah.
Um, and then, he would talk about kind of how it was hard for him fitting in or making friends at first because like he wasn't familiar with the culture and all that stuff. So I could
Right.
also relate on some level. But I guess the biggest thing would just be basketball. Um,
Ah.
just like kind of uh, when you're playing or I just try to try to copy him or whatever.
His moves.
Like yeah, I try to copy his moves or whatever. But it's like when you're shooting alone, it's just like it's like I'm pretending I'm him or something. So yeah, it's yeah. If only I could be more like him.
I remember you mentioned you used to play you used to play basketball in high school, right? Would you say that was like the height of your like being a fan of Kobe? Like when you're super big into basketball, or are you still like big on basketball
uh,
now?
yeah. So I've been a Kobe played for 20 years, and I was a fan like all
From
throughout.
the start, yeah.
Yeah. So obviously within that time span, there's a lot of ups and downs. But so I wouldn't necessarily say that there was a particular point where it was like at a peak
Mm-hmm.
or at like the highest point. Um, is it basically just maintain the same level of interest over the years. And after Kobe retired, thankfully the Lakers got like new players who are also really good. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so it's a good time to be a Laker fan. I mean, I still watch basketball, and I think I will, but I don't think I'll ever like a player or admire a player in the same regard as Kobe.
Oh. I'm curious. Have you seen him play live?
Yeah, yeah. I did. So I grew up in LA, and growing up, I was able to watch maybe a handful of games, and
Mm.
then I went after high school. I went to college in LA for a couple of years as well. So during that time, I was also able to go watch a couple games, and then um, actually transferred colleges to Hawaii,
Mm-hmm.
and the Lakers hold their preseason camp at my college.
Oh,
So yeah, so they have like a training camp on campus and stuff. So
so you got
uh,
to see him up close?
yeah, yeah. So I was able to
Wow.
check it out a couple times. So I've been fortunate. Um, yeah.
Did
So
you ever get to talk to him?
no, no, my brother did though.
Oh,
When
really?
he came to Manila,
Ah.
uh, my brother attended a dinner with him, but I wasn't invited, so I was so jealous. Yeah.
So what
I think
was
it
it?
was like in 2016 or something.
Oh,
Or
super
no,
recent,
2012.
very recent.
No, no, no. It might have been 2012, 2014 actually.
Okay. What was it like seeing him in person, even like from afar or like at a certain distance?
Mm, I don't know. Honestly, it wasn't. It was just like watching on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like I'd seen him play so many times that in person it was. I mean, you feel like the energy, um, like you feel the energy of the crowd and stuff. But yeah, I wasn't ever close enough to make it like like a different experience. So,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, I've been lucky enough to watch him play a couple times. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's always I always got really excited for that.
So I asked some friends to help me out because, like, I'm not a basketball fan. So they sent in some questions, and these are what I'm gonna ask you now. Like, first, like, what was your favorite Kobe game and why?
Oh man, that's a hard question.
Are there a lot of
Um,
favorites?
well, for single game, if it's like one single game, I would probably say when he scored his 81 points.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the second highest points that's ever been scored ever,
Ever?
ever. Yeah, and I remember watching the game. I was in college at the time. I was living in LA in college, and it was uh, it was a game against Toronto, who weren't super good at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like it was one of those main street like the big time games. But I remember watching the game, and all of a sudden he started just scoring so much, and then like by the fourth quarter, it was just how much he could get, and it was I was literally like jumping up and down, screaming at the TV, like,
Yeah.
and yeah, after that, it's like uh, I felt like there's nothing he couldn't do after that. Like,
Yeah.
like that was like probably the my single favorite game of Kobe.
How old was he then? Do you remember? Was that his like prime, one of his prime years?
Yeah, I'm not sure how old he was. That was probably 2006, 2005.
Mm,
Yeah, 2005 or 2006. He was probably around 28 or 29.
I see.
That's for basketball players. That's usually they consider for NBA players their prime years are usually 28, 29, 30.
And he retired how old nga? Sorry.
I think he was like 35 years old,
Is
but he
that
had played
considered
like
like old usually?
yeah. So most NBA players don't last that long into their 30s.
Mm,
Yeah. So like I was saying, your prime is like 28, 29. So after that, you're already kind of on the downhill.
uh-huh.
So you don't tend to last too long after that unless you're really good.
I see. So it's funny because you mentioned that 81 point game. Because my friend sent this question, he says, which was better, 81 or 60? So I didn't know the context. So I'm thinking now, I think that's what he was referring to, 81, but I don't know what the 60 is.
So okay, so damn, the 60 might be my I don't know, that might be my other favorite game. Um, so Kobe basically his last year playing, he had already announced that he was going to retire um, at some point early in the season.
Okay.
So the entire year, it was basically, and the Lakers sucked. So there was no way they were making the playoffs or anything.
Hmm.
So the entire year, it was basically people just showing up to the games and then like their last time seeing Kobe. And then they were just, so literally every arena he went to was like sold out and they were all chanting like for him, like away
Uh-huh.
arenas. And then the 60 point game is the very last game of the season. and that's in LA. So that's a Staples Center,
Mm-hmm.
and
Who
so
are they playing against?
they're playing against the Utah Jazz.
Oh,
Um, it wasn't they had already missed the playoffs, so it was a meaningless game basically.
mm-hmm.
But then uh, yeah, so Kobe's last game, he came out and you could just tell that he was just leaving it all out for the last time,
Mm-hmm.
and he ended up scoring 60 points, which is like a ridiculously high amount. Um, to put it into context, I think like Michael Jordan in his last game scored like 13 points or something.
I see.
So
Like after
yeah,
he came out of the two retirements, is that right? Or like
yeah,
last
yeah,
game ever? Okay.
yeah. So to do it in your last game ever, I mean, most of the top players in the NBA right now have never even scored 60 points.
Mm-hmm.
There are only like there are only a few players who have scored 60 or more, and um, for him to do it in his last game was just incredible. Um, I remember being so pissed that day because I had to go into work.
Oh,
I wanted to call in sick. I didn't want to go into work because I wanted to watch the game.
but
But
did you get to watch it like at work?
no, so I didn't want to spoil it or anything. So the whole day I was basically not going on the internet. I
Ah,
had my phone off the whole day, and then late in the afternoon at like 4 o'clock or something, um, I remember my boss told me he was asking for some research, and I had to go online to get it. And
ah.
as soon as I opened my browser, like the first thing that I see was like Kobe 61 points, and like I just remember being like, oh, like it ruined it, like
Yeah.
because had I watched that live or had I not known that he was going to score 60, I would have like gone crazy. Like,
Ah.
yeah. Um, but yeah, that raises a good point. I don't know if I like the 81-point game or the 60-point game more.
So you can, yeah, it's sort of like a
Yeah, I
tap
can't decide.
in your.
Yeah, it's hard.
The other question sent was which was better, number 8 or number 24?
I think
Oh, sorry.
I
Hello.
didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was better, number 8 or number 24?
Um, I think so. Kobe, the first half of his career, he wore number 8, and then
Mm.
kind of midway he switched to number 24.
What was the reason
So
behind that? Would you know?
I actually don't know. I'm not sure why he did that.
Mm.
Um, but uh, number 8 or number 24? I'm gonna go with 8 because that's uh, that's like you call him Young Kobe.
I
So
see.
that's like his name. Yeah, that's like his nickname for that time, or Froby because he had a fro.
Oh.
Um, yeah. I mean, they're both iconic. Actually, the Lakers retired both numbers, which
Mm.
is pretty crazy if you think about it, because most arena or most like franchises don't really have that many people retired. Their jerseys retired.
What does that mean?
Um,
Like when you retire, other players can't use the numbers again?
yeah, like their number won't be worn again.
Oh,
And
wow.
then so that's usually, and then they raise your jersey up like in the rafters and stuff. So if you're looking at the numbers, like statistically, 8 and 20, like the numbers when he had number 8 and number 24 are like almost the same.
Mm.
And what the Lakers were saying is that had you, if you look at those as two separate careers, like one is number 8, one is number 24, they would both be like Hall of Fame careers. So that's why they said they wanted to retire both jerseys, because
Mm.
in both jerseys he had done uh, yeah, well, he won three championships um, wearing number 8, early in his career with when Shaquille O'Neal was there, and then he won two more after he changed to 24, where he was kind of like the main guy. So personally, I think I'll go with number 8 just because that's like a childhood memories for me.
Uh-huh.
And so yeah, every single sports team, every single jersey that I have, like from any any sport that I've ever played, is number 8.
Oh,
So like I have like a ton of jerseys that are just number 8. So
uh, in honor of
yeah,
Kobe.
yeah, for sure.
Nice. So speaking of Shaquille O'Neal, who was your favorite teammate of Kobe? And what was your favorite like Lakers lineup? Is that what you call it?
Yeah. So I guess uh, the first question, I kind of like favorite teammate. I kind of almost have to say Shaq,
Uh-huh.
because they won 3 rings together.
Mm-hmm. He was
But
older than Kobe, right?
yeah, but Shaq and Kobe, they always fought, so there was always like drama. Um,
Oh.
yeah, so like throughout, because they're both really hard headed, so throughout like they won 3 championships.
Mm.
Throughout that whole time, they were just like fighting basically.
Really?
But they won 3 championships. But I'm gonna say my 1A answer would be this other guy. He's from Spain. His name's Pau Gasol.
Okay.
Um,
I don't know him.
yeah. So okay, so he's from Spain, and then basically, so Kobe and Shaq had all this drama, and then the Lakers traded Shaq away
Mm. Where
because
did
of
he go
that.
to?
They traded him to Miami,
I see.
basically because it was like, who are you gonna? You have to choose between Kobe or Shaq, and they
Uh-huh.
chose Kobe, so they
Mm.
traded Shaq away. And then after they traded Shaq away, the Lakers sucked for like a couple years, and then the Lakers were able to trade for that guy Pau Gasol, and
Mm.
then from there, that's when they won their back to back the next 2 championships.
I see.
And I just liked him because I think um, his personality was like better suited, um, like to play with Kobe, and
Ah.
I just thought he was like a chill dude,
Oh,
like Pau Gasol. Yeah.
that's
What's the other question? The
uh,
other part.
your favorite Lakers lineup or something.
Okay. So this is a pretty popular. You see it on Instagram a lot. Like basically, they take like the best players uh, from a team and then like make kind of like super team.
Mm, okay.
Yeah. So it's like in like all out of all the all-time Laker players, I'm probably gonna have to go with Magic Johnson.
Mhm.
So he'll play the point guard. Then I'll go with Kobe, obviously.
Yeah.
Then probably gonna have to go with LeBron. You know LeBron?
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So LeBron plays for the
He
Lakers now.
transferred, right? Yeah.
Yeah. They're favorites to win this year. So I'm gonna go with LeBron.
Okay. So you're not a LeBron
Um,
hater.
I used to be, but not. When he came over to the Lakers, I had to change it up.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And then I'm gonna go. Shit. I guess. Well, it's yeah, it's hard. So Magic, Kobe, Braun, Shaq, Wilt. It's hard because the Lakers are historically like a really great franchise.
Right.
So
Like a solid
so
team to
they
pull.
yeah, so they have like a lot of players that are like Hall of Famers that I didn't talk about. Like
Mhm.
I left off my team, but
Uh-huh.
that would be my Laker 5.
Uh-huh. What about
Yeah,
naman your top three favorite NBA players of all time?
top 3 favorite players of all time. I'm gonna go with Kobe, 1. Probably go with Shaq number 2,
Mm-hmm.
and then um, I don't know. Who's my third?
Are
Everybody
you
else is like
are you
equal.
not a fan of Michael Jordan?
You know, I didn't really get to, honestly, I didn't get to watch so much of Mike growing up as a kid, which I regret.
Sorry.
Because so I started watching in '96 when Kobe started playing, which
Mm-hmm.
is when the Bulls were. I mean, I remember watching the games and stuff, but I
Yeah.
was never following along.
Uh-huh.
And then growing up in LA, the only games that you get are Laker games.
Uh-huh.
So the only time that I would ever get to watch Michael Jordan is when he would play the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, I was like screaming against him. So, you know,
The
I
loyalty to the
respect him.
team was more
Yeah,
important.
yeah. So I think Jordan is the greatest of all time.
Mm.
But yeah, but I don't. But he's not my favorite. One of my favorite players.
So
I'm
it's
just gonna have
Kobe
to go.
back end.
I'm just gonna have to go Kobe, Shaq, and then everybody else because nobody else stands out.
Not even Steph Curry.
No, no, I can never have a favorite player on a different team than the Lakers.
I see,
Um,
I see.
yeah, like it just would never work out. But Steph Curry is he's legit.
Right, right.
He's good. He's good. I'll admit it.
What about, so you mentioned, was the one the quote that your mom gave you pre-bar your favorite Kobe quote? Or what's your favorite Kobe?
Um, yeah, well, I wasn't actually aware of it. Hold on, let me see if I can find it.
Go lang.
I don't know where I kept it. It might be here. Yeah, I can't find it.
No, it's fine,
Hold
it's
on.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
But what's your favorite Kobe quote?
I don't really have a favorite one actually.
Oh,
Um, hold on. All right, here I got it. Um, all right, here's the quote. So my mom gave me this card for the night before the bar exams,
mm-hmm.
and then it says I have self doubt, I have insecurity, I have fear of failure. I have nights when I show up at the arena and I'm like, my back hurts, my feet hurt, my knees hurt. I don't have it. I just want to chill. We
Mm.
all have self doubt. You don't deny it, but you also don't capitulate to it. You embrace it.
Oh.
So for me, that was pretty good because I was kind of doubting myself before the bar exams. I'm
Uh,
sure you can relate.
yeah. I
Um,
think it's so fitting to, to hear before, like the night before the bar exams, because like the first Sunday is always the scariest because you don't know what to expect, right?
yeah, so that gave me like a little boost. I was just like, yeah, Kobe's right.
Oh.
So you kind of just got to go for it. He has this thing. It's called so he's famous for his work ethic and like his like belief in himself. And
Mm-hmm.
it's basically it's no people call it Mamba mentality.
Mm-hmm.
So you might hear that phrase like every now and then, like Mamba mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of think about that. You know, even in my day to day when it's like, you know, you really gotta, you know, tie down and get something done, or you just gotta take care of whatever it is you gotta do. You
Mm-hmm.
you might not like it. It's like Mamba mentality.
Uh-huh.
Like you just gotta like attack it. So
So that's how
yeah,
yeah, we always hear about Mamba mentality. That's how you would describe Mamba mentality. Like you have, like you don't quit in the face of like uncertainty or struggle.
yeah,
You just have to do it.
uh, yeah. So for me, Mamba mentality is basically um, making sure that you know you're focused and you're giving it your all and the proper attention, and um, you're just not really willing to take anything else,
Mm.
kind of like by any means necessary.
Right.
So that's pretty much what it means to me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just kind of fight through whatever it is, and then you can do it. Just gotta set your mind to it, kind of.
Right, right. What are the other lessons you found useful from him, which you've applied to your own life? Not necessarily like at work, but other aspects of your life.
Um, Other lessons from Kobe. I don't. Well, I think you can kind of separate the basketball aspect from like the motivation aspect.
Mm.
So for me, it was. I mean, he influenced me in both ways. I wouldn't say many other ways outside of those two aspects, but on the court, I always wanted to try to copy him or practice his moves, and then off the court, I think he's have had an even bigger influence in my life. Um, Basically, with the way that he approaches, his goals, challenges to him. He tore his Achilles, which is uh, thought to be like a career-ending injury,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, he basically came back like late in his career after that, and you know that that kind of just shows what kind of determination you have. A lot of people thought that he would never play again. Um, so yeah, I really just try to take that into my everyday challenges, and
Mm-hmm.
um, it's kind of I kind of I feel like I kind of have a belief in myself in the same way that Kobe did. Uh, Kobe was like that. He took like every shot because he thought it was always going in. So he had like a crazy sense of self belief. Like
Mm-hmm.
he never doubted himself. So I think maybe in other ways I've also tried to take from that and kind of just focus on myself and being good with myself and just believing in who I am. And I found it like reassuring, because a lot of people thought Kobe's crazy and stuff,
Right.
for doing like all this stuff. But yeah, like if you're like Kobe, you put in the work, and you should be comfortable with who you are and what you're capable of.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that too. I'm yeah, quiet self confidence, I guess.
Right, right. Oh, that's nice. Do you collect like sneakers or jerseys or other Kobe memorabilia?
Yeah. So I guess I have it all: sneakers, jerseys.
Really?
Yeah. Well, when I was growing up, I'd always had a thing for sneakers.
Ah.
I think I don't know how many shoes Kobe has had over his life. Kobe started with Adidas, and
Mm.
then later on he became a Nike athlete.
Oh, I didn't
And
know that.
along the way, he must have had like 20 plus models of shoes. I probably had like more than half.
Wow.
Uh, yeah. Uh, if you put, yeah, between me and my brother, I think we've had them all basically.
Nice.
Uh,
So he's
yeah,
also
it's
like a super fan.
yeah. It's like I wouldn't want to buy, like, if I bought basketball shoes that weren't Kobe's, I would feel like I was cheating or something. So like I wouldn't like I have a lot of Kobe basketball shoes, and then like not like I don't have any other basketball shoes of other players and stuff.
Right,
So
right.
I would basically only buy like the Kobe shoes, and then I don't know if you 30 somethings all remember the early 2000s, but you know, it was all the thing to be rocking those basketball jerseys.
Right,
You
right.
know, yeah, you know. Um, so
With a baggy pants and
yeah. You know, yeah, you know what it's about. So I definitely was like in that phase too. I was always rocking the Kobe jerseys. So probably have like, yeah, I've lost count.
uh-huh.
Basically, almost all of them. So
What's your most prized like Kobe memorabilia or something?
I have a jersey that's signed by Kobe.
Oh,
Uh,
from one of his
my bet
games after watching one of his games?
No, my best friend actually gave it to me for my birthday.
Hmm,
Um, he got it at like the NBA store here.
I see.
He used to, yeah. So they sell signed jerseys and stuff. Um, it's like,
Did you frame it? Oh, it's
yeah,
framed. Oh my gosh, it's
yeah,
framed.
yeah. That used to be like right over my bed, but I
Oh,
moved it to the side.
uh-huh.
But yeah, so that's probably the best gift that I've ever got.
Oh.
And like I look at it every day. Like I see it every
When you
day.
wake up, yeah.
Yeah, like it's like right there. And that's probably like one of my most prized possessions.
Uh-huh.
Like if there were a fire, I'd probably grab that and maybe like a couple of other things and run out.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, that was for sure my most prized Kobe possession.
Uh-huh. Okay, so this question may sound cheesy, so I don't know. It's your choice if you want to answer it or not. So
Okay.
if you got the chance to talk to him, what would you tell him?
Um, you know, honestly, if I got the chance to talk to him, I would the first thing that comes to mind is I would just want to thank him, um,
Oh,
because you know, outside of my family, I think he's probably had the biggest impact in my life, like the person with the most impact on my life.
mm-hmm.
Aside from the hours that I spent like watching the games and stuff, which I absolutely love watching them play. Um,
Uh-huh.
so he's brought me, you know, joy watching the games and all that stuff. But then he's also helped me out, um, like when, you know, I maybe didn't think I could do something, or when I was facing some challenging times. So yeah, if I were to ever talk to him or meet him, I would really just want to say thanks, like for everything. Like, yeah, I think you saw it when he passed away. The reaction of the people in LA, it was like, um, they went to Staples Center. They flooded it with flowers and like
Right. Yeah.
messages and signboards, and it, yeah, it's just yeah, nothing really comes to mind except like thank you, like for doing what you did and inspiring like millions of people.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, my last question, super random. If you had to choose between basketball and surfing, what would it be? What would you pick?
In what are we talking about in terms of playing or like watching or what?
Like playing, doing the sport itself.
Okay, okay. I'm gonna have to go with surfing.
Oh, really?
I'm just I just like watching basketball now. I don't like
I
playing
see.
so much. I think I don't know if you realize it, but I've definitely realized like as we've gotten older, like my body's not the same.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
So like I don't want to risk, and I feel like basketball is like a generally like a dangerous sport. Um,
Uh,
like if you think about it, it's like really unnatural movements like for humans. Like they're not supposed to be like jumping off of one leg and like flying like however far. I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of injury risk.
mm,
So I'm good with not playing anymore. I stopped playing. I don't get to surf enough, but uh, I feel like surfing is like a spiritual kind of thing
Right, right.
where um, even if you're not catching waves, even if you're just sitting out there like in the middle of the ocean not doing anything, it's still like you know the phrase or the word church has been like used by a lot of people to describe what it's like just to kind of be out there in the ocean. Um,
True, so true.
so yeah, so I definitely, no doubt, would pick surfing.
Good to know.
Um,
Good to know.
yeah, but I don't know. I haven't been in a long time, so
Right, right.
maybe it's time to get out there.
Yeah, when all this is over, right?
Yeah, I got my boards are like right up here.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so it's like I'm always
that's a
reminded of
really clever way of like displaying your boards. They're so nice.
for storing it because they're so big. I had to do it like that. So I just drilled those things into the wall,
Oh, that's so cool.
and yeah, it's actually really good because it's all vertical, so it doesn't take up any of the space down
Yeah,
here.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
but so I'm always reminded of like going out and not being able to go surf. Yeah, so they're just there to remind me.
Right, right. Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon, right?
Yeah, once this COVID thing is under control.
Yeah.
Uh, but I heard in Surigao there are no cases in Surigao.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah, so
go ahead, sorry.
I have a friend who has he opened a bed and breakfast over there,
Uh-huh.
and he was saying like there's no COVID cases there at all. Um, and so everybody that's there, like nobody wears a mask or anything,
Hmm.
and they're all just going around like normal and like surfing and stuff. So I missed out because he was inviting me to go there at the start of lockdown,
Uh-huh.
so I could have, and I didn't work from home this whole time, so I missed my opportunity to go live down there in Surigao.
Right.
I could still be working.
True, true. All right. So yeah, Anja, thanks so much for agreeing to do this. I know you don't really listen to podcasts, but I super appreciate you like taking the time to share your Kobe story. It was nice to, hear it firsthand from a fan of his. So yeah, thanks again so much. And I'll just stop recording, but we can talk a bit more after. Yeah. Thank you.